Welcome guys. So today we're going to learn how to create something like this, simple to do, where we can have the ability to add items, list items, and as well as delete them. So this is what we're going to build. It's going to be pretty quick, maybe 15-20 minutes. So in this tutorial, we'll know how to connect Next.js with Firebase Firestore specifically and get 3 operations. So add, list, and delete. Cool. Let's get started. Okay, so first on the left, I have the Firebase Console open already, and I do have a few apps. So that's why you'll see some here. But if you don't have it, visit console.firebase.google.com and it will prompt you to sign in. And you'll probably, if you don't have an account, you won't see these. Cool. So on the right side, I kind of already started a new app. So if I just go up, what I did was I ran the command npx create next app at latest, and then we have to give a name to the app. So I did Firebase Next App. Cool. So that's all I did, and I'm CD'd into it. We have a bare bones Next.js app. That's the latest. I believe this is 13 or 14 we're on. Where is that? Yep, this is 14. Cool. So for now, we're not going to do anything on the right side just yet. I just want to set up Firebase Console. All right. So let's start with adding a project. We're going to click this. Let's give it a name. All right, once we do that, we're gonna see this. So for now, we're not gonna worry about analytics. Nice, so it's already done, complete. It took about 10 seconds. Let's hit continue. And then you'll see something like this. So it's a bare bones, there's nothing connected, but we'll do that shortly. First thing we wanna do is we just wanna get started with a web app. Let's give it a name. I'm not gonna set up hosting now, but if you want to host it, make it go live, you can do it. But for now, I'm gonna skip that. First, they want you to install Firebase and then create a file so you can initialize your Firebase. For now, I'm not going to copy it, but I'll show you how you can get it even if you don't copy it. So let's just continue console. Okay, so now we have an app, a web app. And the other thing that we need to do is we need to create a Firestore. So we just got to give another name, I believe. Yep, next. For now, we'll start in test mode. Cool, so this is where you'll see pretty much the table view of any data or documents, I should say. But one thing we need to change is the rules here. So here, we just need to change one small thing. So this is the thing that we need to change. We'll just change the if true. Cool. All right, so that's published. So we're pretty much done with the left side here. And like I said, if you did not copy the code, we can get it by, where was it? We go to project overview and we get to project settings. And if you scroll down, this is where that same code is. So why do we need this? Because this has all the API keys and everything else that Firebase needs in order to initialize and to point to this app pretty much. Okay, so on the right side, we're gonna have to install a couple of things. First things first, we're just gonna install Firebase. So I'm just gonna copy that, let it run. Nice. So now the other thing we need to do is npm install at Firebase/Firestore. This will give us the Firestore. Cool. With those two out the way, we need to create a file where we can put this stuff. So I'm just going to close out the terminal because we don't need it right now. Cool. The way I'm going to set it up is inside source, I'm going to create another folder and I'm just going to call it utils. But feel free to call it wherever you want. I'm going to do Firebase config.js. Cool, so now all we would do here is copy and paste. Alright, so we have this. And if you did want to deploy it, just know that you don't want to do it like this. You want to create a .env. So let's close that out. And our Firebase config is ready. So now we need one more thing. We just need to initialize Firestore. I'm going to create another file within this utils folder. So call it firestore.js. Cool. Now let's start writing some code. Import. First up, we're going to get Firestore. We need to get the config. So we'll do import Firebase. What is it called? It's just called app, so we just have to call it should be able to find it. Firebase config. Okay, so now we need a database, which is to do get Firestore. This is going to take the config here. So here we're just going to pass an app. So now we'll just export default our database so we can use it in our components. Cool, that's set up, this is set up, we're good to go in terms of Firebase. So now let's just start up our localhost, npm run dev. We'll get our local 3000, so I already have this here. I'm just gonna refresh. Nice, we have a bare bones Next.js app. This is just boilerplate code. So I'm gonna visit the page, and I kind of want to delete everything here, so I will just do that. Cool, so I just want to run a div, and maybe h1, just call it our Next.js Firebase Firestore. And there we go, boom. So since we're using Tailwind, we're just gonna do a class name, and I'm just gonna get the styles that I already have. All it does is gives us a white background with some black colored text and just puts it in the middle. Okay, so this is good. Next thing I want to do is I want to create some components. Technically, we can just do everything here, but just to keep it a little bit clean, we will be creating components. So first thing is we want to create an input that has a button. So let's create another folder called components. Here, I'm going to create a file. Let's call it AddItem, because this component will allow us to add an item to our database. First, we need to import state because we'll have some local state. We will import the database so we can actually make calls to it. Utils, Firestore, and a few more things that we need. So this is going to be from Firestore specifically. We'll get the collection as well as this function called addDoc, which allows us to modify our database and add a document to it. All right, so now let's get to creating the component. AddItem is what I'm calling it. Cool. So first we need to value and set value so we can control the input. Here, what am I missing? Yeah, equal sign. Cool. All right, so we will need a handle submit. So let me just write that down. And I'm assuming you guys are familiar with basic React. If you're not, let me know in the comments and I will create another tutorial for that. But I am assuming for this one, you guys are familiar with that. So return, I just want to return a form and I'll put an input. Okay. It's going to be a self-closing tag. And then I'll also need a button. So this will be just add item. Cool, now I have a bare bones stuff, so I'm going to start filling it out. First thing we need on the form is on submit. We're going to do a handle submit. And then on input, we'll do type is equal to, text. We'll do a value is going to be whatever is in our state. And then on change, this is what's going to control our local state. Here we'll do a callback, and it's going to be e.target.value. All right, one last thing we need is some throw in a placeholder. So add a new item. Nice, we have this. We'll just create this as a submit. And if I just refresh the page, we haven't imported, so let's just import this. Okay, nice. So we get an error saying that we need to create a use client in order to use state. Okay. All we need to do is use client, and we are almost good to go. What do we do? Class function you likely forgot to export a component. Did I forget to export? Yep, we did forget to export. Or I forgot to export, I should say. Default add item. Cool, that's gonna work. Nice. Now we just have a simple input with a button. Now let's actually fill out the handle submit. So we want to actually do some stuff here. First things first, it's gonna be a synchronous function. So we can throw in the async here. This will have we'll need a parameter because we want to make sure that the page does not refresh. So we're gonna do event.prevent default. Since we're not using TypeScript, we're not getting the suggestions and autocompletes. Okay, so we have that, and for best practice, we just want to put it in try catch, and then I'll just do error, So first we'll just throw an error. We'll just say error adding document, and then we'll just do like error, maybe that message. We'll just do error, but I believe it's error that message. Cool. Anyways, now we're gonna need to do some Firebase stuff. So we have to get the ref, and this is what's gonna actually add it to our Firestore. So add doc, and it's gonna take in 2 parameters. First up, it's gonna be collection. It's gonna be, we're gonna pass in the database, our database that we initialized, as well as the name of the database. So we're gonna call it, let's just call it items for now. Cool. So that's the first parameter. Second parameter, we're gonna give it, well, we can do whatever we want put here, but for now I'm just gonna put like a name, and then whatever value it has, that's what it's gonna be. So in the items collection, we're gonna add an entry there with just a name, which is gonna be the value that we type in our input box. Cool. So this is looking good. One thing I forgot is to reset our input. So after this has worked successfully, we just want to reset this. We'll do console log, and we'll do document written with ID, because every document is going to have a specific unique ID. So we can do doc ref.id. Okay, so our Firebase Firestore database, right now it's empty. So now if we add an item, let's say our to-do is to write some code, we're going to hit add item. We're going to see some logs here. So since we got document written and we got an ID, we know that it's working. So now on Firebase, if we look at it here, just going to refresh, we should see that. Cool, nice. So this is exactly what we wrote. This is that same ID, and we have the field name. Nice. For now, that's working. The next thing that I want to add is 2 more things. So we want to display everything that's here, and then the other thing I want to do is a update. Or not update, delete. We can do update, but I'm going to skip that. That should be fairly simple. So we'll do delete and list. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit, slight some styling, give some spacing, class name. Let's give it some 4 spacing. Nice. Get some space there. And then in the input, let's just make it look slightly nicer. We'll give it a border. We'll give it some padding, and we'll make it kind of rounded on the edges. And I believe we want to put some spacing on the right of the button. Cool. Okay, yep, that's that component. The next thing that I want to create is the list. So since it's already updating, let's just list it up. I'm just gonna close it. All right. So now we go back to components. We're gonna create another file. We're gonna call it ListItems. Okay, so this one is also gonna be a use client, because we are gonna use some use state. So let's get ahead, use state, and then also use effect. Cool. We're also gonna import our database. Okay. We're also gonna get the collection for Firebase Firestore, as well as this is the key function. Get docs is what we need. So if we wanted just one specified by ID, we could do that, but we want to just get everything. So we're going to do docs. So let's create the component, list items. All right, this is just React boilerplate code at the moment. So const items is equal to set items. So initially it's going to be empty, but we are going to fetch for it. Empty array, a use effect. So we can create a use effect where we're just going to fetch the data. For now, we'll just do it on load just once. All right, let's create the fetch. Fetch items is equal to async promise. So we need to do async await. We'll do a query snapshot because we are getting a snapshot of the document. Okay, so now we're going to await it, and then we're going to call the function getDocs. We're going to pass in our Firebase collection, database, and the name of it was items. So that's pretty much it. That's going to work. All right, set items. We'll want to do a query. I'm just going to close that out. Query snapshot.docs.map for every document that we get. We want to map through it. I'm going to open that up. So we're going to get everything in the document. which really is not much, but we'll just do get document.data, and we'll create an ID, which is going to be the ID of the document, because that was not in it. What I mean by that is this one right now, it just has one field. So the spread operator is going to give us everything here, but this doc.id is going to give us a unique ID that is not included here. Only thing we need to do now is actually call the function fetch items. Nice. So now let's create our HTML. So we'll start off with a div. Let's give it a h2. Call it the list of our items, and we need to do a list. So we'll create an on order list. I'm gonna map through all of our items. So .map, we'll create an item, and then we'll need to create some HTML. So I'm gonna create a list item. Here we're gonna put a p tag. This is gonna be the name of the item, not the name, but the field name. And we're gonna add a way to delete it, but first let's just render it. This is yelling at us because it's missing the key, so we'll just do item.id, and we know that we have this because we did it here. Cool. So this is looking good. Exporting. Export default list items. All right, so let's just load it up, see what it looks like. List items. Right, nice. You see I'm refreshing the page and it's already getting us some stuff here. So cool. I'm gonna write one more thing. So do laundry. Nice. So it's working, but we don't have like we haven't added a way for this use effect to like retrigger. So for now it's not real time, but it's working. In terms of styling list items, we want to first do a class name here. What I want to do is create some border. We'll give it a width. I'm going to do width 96. Put all the text in the center and give it some padding around the edges. See what that looks like. Nice. It just looks like a box. Cool. That works for us. For our list item, let's create a class name. We'll do the same thing. We'll do a border. Maybe border top and then a padding 2. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm just putting some border above it. And yeah, that looks fine. Looks decent. Those gets the job done. So now next, I do want to create a delete button to be on the next to it. So we'll create a component here. Let's call that DeleteItem.js. All right, so now we're gonna import again from, we will do .utils Firestore. We're gonna get some more Firestore functions. So first of all, we can get the doc as well as the delete doc. Yep, from cool. Yep, that's it. That's all we need. So let's create the component. Delete item is what we're calling it. So deleting, we need to know what we're deleting. So we're gonna pass in an actual index or an ID. So let's create the return statement button. It's gonna have a on click. We can do a handle delete, which we'll create in a second. We'll also give it some styling. Let's just do some border, background red, because it is delete. Let's go with 400. Let's give it some padding, maybe some roundedness, as well as making the text color white. Cool. So that's our button. Let's give it delete. All right, so that's that. And let me do this before I forget. Export default delete item. All right, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to create the handle const handle delete. So this is going to be an asynchronous function. We are going to open it up. All right, so now first we need to get the reference of that ID. So doc database items is what we're going with, and then the ID that's being called for. We can do a try. We will do a wait. Delete doc, and then we'll get the ref that we've got above. Once it's deleted, it'll just alert. So item has been deleted successfully. All right, so now let's fill out the catch. We'll just give it error. For this, we'll do a console.error deleting document. So now we just pass an error. What else we'll do? We can alert it. Error deleting. All right, cool. Yep, that works. That's fine. I think this should do the trick. Let's try it out. So we need to import it here, not here, here. I'm gonna put it right next to it, and I think that should, in terms of styling, just work. So now we need to pass in the parameter ID is equal to ID. Close that up. What did I do? ID is not, oops, item.id. Return out a typo somewhere. It's probably here. return. Nice. Cool. Yep, we have a button here that we can delete. And to try it out, we'll just delete our laundry. Item has been deleted successfully. Nice. So if you refresh, we should only see right code. Yep. If we go back here, it's gone. So delete is working, list is working, add is working. All right, so that is the app. And if you guys want, you can add the update functionality as well as anything else. But you have learned the basics on how to use Firebase with Next.js. Feel free to modify it and create your new apps with this. So let me know what else you'd like to see and what areas you'd like me to dive into. Thank you, like and subscribe.